All right, guys, this is part 2 of teaching your horse how to move off your leg. The first part I showed y'all on the ground with a gelding that didn't know a whole lot. And this mare is a 17 or 18-year-old broodmare that I pulled out of the pasture. She hasn't been rode in about a year, maybe closer to 2. And so this is what you see is what you get. Obviously, since she has been rode in the past, she's going to understand, more what to do once I get in the saddle, but she doesn't understand what I'm asking on the ground necessarily. And there she did a pretty good job. She kind of tried to take her head away at first, but she did do a pretty good job. She moved her hind end over when I did put my hand on her side. And so all I'm going to do is just kind of show her, this is what I need you to do. Basically take those baby steps and, you know, flex them first. And she's not doing the best flexing. She flexes, but she moves around a lot. And that's fine. You just have to kind of go with it. Go with what you have with your horse in that specific day. Meaning, don't look at what your horse was yesterday. Only look at what your horse is today. If your horse does really well today, great. If your horse is, maybe gone a little backwards from yesterday, it happens. They have bad days too. It might be windy and it's super scary, or their buddy is away on the other side of the pasture, or whatever the case may be. So you need to really just focus on what your horse is today and not what they did and how well they did yesterday. So you need to just kind of go through everything step by step so they understand what you're asking. And you can see there my camera kind of tipped, and so I do apologize. But there she is. I'm asking her to go forward, and she's not quite understanding, so she's more or less going sideways. And finally I get a forward leg forward, and I release. And so, like I said, what you see is what you get. I did not prepare her ahead of time for this. I videoed everything that she did so that y'all could see how she responded. I'm not saying that this is how your horses are going to respond. Your colts might be different, especially your colts. But there she finally moved her front end again, going forward. And I was asking for a little bit more. I said, okay, can we do more of a circle? She's starting to understand this. She's starting to get the hang of it. Just so that we can kind of reiterate this and how it works. And I'm also waiting for her to kind of drop her head, take a deep breath, maybe blink her eyes, lick her lips, that sort of thing. Just kind of give her some time to think about what's going on and what she has to process, not just throw it all at her. And there I gotta go swap out my boots real quick. I completely forgot to cut this portion out of the video, but it is what it is. And when I come back, I realize that the camera was very crooked, and so I come up and I fix the camera and straighten it back out, and then we proceed. I did cut that part out, so I apologize. But this is basically what we would do with a colt. Then once they have the basic understanding as far as getting on the, moving their hind end around and out, and then going forward from the ground, we then would hop up And you notice I'm slightly bumping with my opposite leg that's not in the stirrup to kind of get her to go forward a little bit. And you see there, she's like, oh, okay, go forward. And I'm kind of guiding, have my hand out real wide so I can kind of guide her, and then bring her head up and, flex her if I need to. A lot of times we'll do that to kind of get that stop. And so do it on both sides, not just one side, but both sides, because we want them to be equally as good on both sides, not just one side. The other thing is, I know a lot of people say you only mount from the left side, this or that, but we don't know what those horses are going to go on to do. Ropers, they dismount and mount up on that right side a lot. So I prepare my horse for whatever the case may be. This also includes kids. Kids like to go out and have fun, and if you have a horse that someday may be one of those, great. And so same thing, I'm going to do the right side. I struggle a little bit more on the right side because I'm not as flexible on the right side. And this mare is tall. She's a halter and pleasure bred mare, so she's a little taller than my normal cow horses. But that's okay. And you can see she's kind of struggling. She can't figure out quite to go forward. She moves her hind end a lot versus going forward. There she takes a couple forward steps, which is really great. Just flex her back to the stop. And when you flex her to the stop, you are not having your leg in them. When you are up on the side of the saddle, if the horse does blow up, you can get off a lot quicker. You're not going to put yourself into such a dangerous position. You still have your weight up over the saddle, not hanging from one side, which I think is very important, especially anybody who's new to starting some horses. And from here, when they do really well like that, then usually it's pretty good to go ahead and get on. And we'll do the same thing. Then you have one leg instead of two, but you kind of bump them and just try to get them to go up in a little circle, forward, getting those legs forward. And just keeping them, like I said, in a smaller circle that is controlled. And even though this is an older mare that hasn't been rode for a while, you still kind of get the understanding of what to expect. And I thought this would be a good example because, like I said, I didn't know what she was going to do, and I knew she hadn't been prepared for any of this on the ground. I've never asked her to do this before. So what you kind of see is kind of what you get. And then, you can kind of see that I just walk her in bigger circles. Switch sides. She's a little lazy, as you can kind of see. But that's basically the gist of it. And so if you want to see something more detailed or more specific on this, or have other questions for other topics, just let me know.